Hey, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new, I am Charisma, and this is Charisma Cares Travels the World. Here, I talk about my apologies. Here, I talk about how my son and I travel the world, and we do so by my real estate investments. I teach you how to travel with or without your kids around the world. And my son, he also has a disability. So I teach you about that. Um, the special needs, disability, and just traveling as a single woman or a family. Then I also teach you how to invest in real estate. So today I am talking, this is really a second part of a series that I'm talking about how to plan your next big trip because, first of all, summer is coming up, and also because we normally have this big trip we want to go on, right? It may be this once in a lifetime trip. It may be across the seas. It may be Disney World. Whatever it is, we need to find a way to plan it. Last time we talked about different apps, how to save money through credit cards, and how to just not overly spend in ways that you don't need to, how to cut costs. So I will put the link to that video in the description below. There is also the links to some of the ways you can save money through house sitting. You can get 25% off house seating with the link below. I also link the website that I use for my what am I trying to say? I'm so sorry. I'm at a loss of words. For my travel insurance, I pay that monthly. So I list that below for you, as well as some other goodies, when how you can do the chase cards and use your points. And I go over how to utilize all of those things in the prior video. So again, I will link that for you. Today, I want to continue on. I am actually using my Africa trip as the trip, my big lifetime trip. As some of you know, I've been traveling the world with my son, kind of going back and forth between there and the United States, where I live permanently. But all of this travel for us has been a build up to that next big trip. And for us, that next big trip or the big trip is my trip to Africa. So I'm going to kind of go through how I'm planning my trip to Africa and how you too can plan your next big trip, whatever that may be. So this is an impromptu live. I don't know. Someone's on. Hey there. I don't expect there to be a whole lot of people on here, but this is one of those lives that you can catch later on if you need to, or whenever you may need it to plan that next big trip. So, what's going on in planning my trip that I'm doing next is I am mapping out where I want to go. It's pretty important to map out. Sometimes when I go on a trip, I'm like, I'm going to go to Skyscanner and I'm just basically going to put in a destination and, I put in everywhere on Skyscanner. You can do that. You could just put in everywhere, and basically, it'll show you from least expensive to most expensive where you can go next. You can also travel on off season or shoulder season to make it less expensive. But this time, I want to go to Africa. That is where I've been planning on going. So I'm going to put that in to find out how much those tickets are. I've been following those tickets for a while. I'm starting to see that a one-way ticket, the lowest I'll probably get is around 600. So once it gets down to 600, it's time for me to go ahead and book that flight. Booking that with travel points, 600 for two tickets will cost me anywhere between 12 and 1300. And by using my travel points with my Chase card, I may only end up paying $200 or $300. So that's the joy of using the Chase card. Now, if you're gonna do an impromptu trip, go at it. You can skip this step. You don't have to do all of the research. But since I'm not doing an impromptu trip and I'm actually going to be planning this one out, it's pretty expensive. So I want to plan and try to save as much money as possible. So with that being said, I've been going on some of the Facebook groups and I've been posing questions. And I want to tell you that's like the best way to get information about a location. So for me, I will be going from flying out to Rwanda, and then I will go from Rwanda to Kenya. And then I'll make my way down the East Coast to South Africa. The thought is that next I will go to Tanzania, and then I will fly to Mauritius. From Mauritius, I will take a cruise down to South Africa. Now, this is the plan, and all of this sounds good. But what's really going to make a difference is you got to find out how to get place to place. Know how you're going to travel when you get to where you're going. When you go to a place like Europe, it's so easy to jump on a train. When I did a little tour of Italy, well, not a little tour, I don't know, a 10-day tour. I did a 10-day tour of Italy, and in that tour, we went from to Rome. We saw Pisa. We went to Lucia. We also went to Venice, and we went to Florence. I had to think of all of those. The thing about Italy is it's so easy just to jump on the train. The train is inexpensive, and it goes just about anywhere. And that's pretty much for the majority of Europe, with the exception of a few countries. And for that reason, it's very inexpensive to travel around the continent of Europe. And that's one thing that is quite amazing about Europe. You jump on that train, you just make sure you watch your luggage, don't get pickpocketed, and you can travel all of Europe so very easily. As I'm the other place, Mexico. Mexico is easy to travel by bus, very inexpensive to travel by bus, basically a few couple of American dollars. You can also travel by plane, fairly inexpensive, $25 to $100 will pretty much get you most places in Mexico. So you look at Europe, you look at Mexico, even when you look at the United States is not too expensive when traveling. I mean, if you're going from like New York to Florida, Florida to California, it could be a little pricey. But it's very easy to say you're going to rent a car, drive through the United States, get on a Greyhound bus, the mega bus, go through the United States that way, or even, I don't know. I've never done Amtrak, but Amtrak is in most major cities as well. So it's pretty simple to say you're going to do, one of those. When I'm looking at going to Africa, it's actually not as simple as other places that I've been. It's actually fairly difficult and expensive to travel Africa. You have to catch a flight that goes from one country to another country to another country. And for that reason, it just makes it very expensive. Also, the countries do not really talk to one another. For example, in the United States, we can travel easily state to state within our country. Our passport allows us to travel easily to other countries. Mexico, they can travel state to state. Their passport actually makes it easy to travel to multiple countries. However, Africa seems to be the exception to the rule. A lot of their countries within on their continent cannot travel easily to other countries. And we are looking at continent and country versus country and state. But even so, it's fairly simple for us in the US to travel to Canada or to travel to Mexico. In some instances, but besides what the government will make you think about, Mexicans coming over illegally, there are many Mexicans that do come over legally on a travel visa, so they can travel here to the US or, even Canada. So that's the thing. It's fairly easy to travel. When you're looking at Africa, it's a little harder to travel. Even those that live on the continent, born on the continent, they're going from Nigeria to another country. They're going from, South Africa to another country. It can be difficult depending on what country they're from. My understanding is Liberia is one of the best ones to travel from. I think because they have an alliance with America. That's what I was told by a local. I don't know. Don't quote me 100%. So when you're planning on traveling Africa, if you're like, oh, I'm going to go to South Africa and then I'm going to go to Egypt or then I'm going to go to Kenya, it's actually a little more difficult to travel from one country to another. It's very expensive. You can do the planes. You could try driving, but personally, I'm not going to drive. Being a single mom and all, that's just not safe for me. I don't think on in any country. I mean, it's not even Africa. I'm just not driving. Plus, I'm not really a backpacker or a road tripper. That's just not my thing. I like to get where I'm going and be there. Another thing you could do is the bus, but the buses, to me, it seems like the buses range from like lower to higher class. So you got to make sure you get on the correct bus. Then you gotta worry about your I don't know, maybe you don't have to, but then I worry about my luggage because again, I'm not a backpacker. I am not team carry-on, so I'm probably gonna have at least I'm trying to make sure I only have 2 pieces of luggage, check luggage, but I also have my son's wheelchair, so I'm like, do I really wanna get on the bus?" That's the other thing. So some places you may want to take a bus. I got on a Facebook group and I was told by a number of people that it's not safe to take a bus in Kenya at night, especially as a foreigner. So these are all things that you want to make sure that you're planning when you're talking about going overseas. How are you going to get around? In Mexico, when I just stayed in Mexico City, not saying I took the bus out of Mexico City, but in Mexico City, it was easy for me to jump on public transportation just to go downtown, things like that. So you want to know about these things. What kind of transportation are you going to be using? Whether you're staying in that state, if whether you're traveling around that country, whether you're traveling around the continent, you really want to know what type of transportation you're using because that's really going to make a big difference. That transportation can be inexpensive, it can be expensive. I could tell you that when you're hopping countries like I do, especially with a child, especially with a little bit of a bougie taste, where you may not want to do too many buses. I can do the bus up to 4 hours, y'all. After that, I'm like, ugh, I need to get off this bus. It is going to be more expensive. Like slow travel, unless it's really slow, like 6 months. But how I do a month to 3 months. Slow travel is more expensive. The thing is, we're not signing leases for a year. A lot of times we're doing Airbnb. Maybe you can negotiate that price down since you'll be there a couple of months. And, you're not going to buy a car there. You're not going to be there. You're going to be there long enough to really see the place, but not long enough to really establish roots. By the time you get to know a lot of people on the ground, it's typically time to go. And that can sometimes be hard for myself and my son. He starts to get friends there, and it's almost time to go. So, you want to think about that because that expense in slow travel, or even if you're doing quick travel, because you want to hit a couple of places before you head back. By the time you spent the money on that airfare to get where you're going, you like, I want to go here, 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 and here. I want to make the most of my time and the most of my money. So that can be expensive. So you want to make sure that you get that together. You want to make sure you have at least a outline, even if you don't have a full game plan. Have an outline and know about the transportation, know about how to function on the ground. And like I said, the easiest way to find that out is to go on Facebook, go in these travel groups. So I'm going to show you one of my posts that I put up, and it's going to just kind of show how good of a tool Facebook is. I know there's people that's like, I don't get on Facebook. I don't like Facebook. And that's cool. You don't have to get on, you don't have to like Facebook. You don't even have to use your real name on Facebook. Go on Facebook to learn what you need to learn in that travel group for your trip. And that's going to make all of the difference. So I am going to share my screen here with you all because I want you to see just how beneficial these travel groups can be. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to share this screen, and so this is me, and I said, I'm asking for some help, starting to do some research of my tour of Africa, and I'm finding it super expensive to jump countries. Does anyone know of another source of transportation other than the plane? Every flight I look up is about 300 to 400 each way. Is it because I'm looking while in the U.S.? Is it because we travel by ourselves? So driving is a no. I went ahead and put that out there because I don't want to get a bunch of people responding back to me saying, "Oh, you can drive." No, I'm absolutely not driving. And then I let them know I'm gonna do Rwanda to Kenya to Zanzibar to South Africa, and how many countries, and I want to do it before the 15th. So you want to make sure you go to all your comments because you don't want just the top 10 comments because you want to know everything that they're mentioning. So someone said it's expensive to go between countries. It's also not very practical. Okay, I kind of already knew that. So we're gonna move on to the next one. Someone says it's expensive in general, maybe due to systemic racism. Try you could try looking it up with a VPN, but that may not make a difference. So for those of you that may not know what a VPN is, a VPN is basically when let's see, your internet right now shows that you are at your location. Let's say you're in the United States, in Florida, in Orlando. When you use a VPN, what that does is it will then it will hide your location and change that to a different location. So I may say I want my location to be in Asia. So that would then put me in Asia. So then I would clear my cookies and I will then search on the internet, and because it says I'm now in Asia, from Asia, they may receive different prices than I will receive in the United States. Some people also will use the VPN when they're working. So you may be in Asia physically, but you use your VPN to say that you're in the United States. So that's what the VPN is. So, one thing that I mentioned was that I think is another way to lessen the tourism of Africa, because basically everywhere else is so much easier to travel around. Um, let's see. Let's see. When I'm getting some really good feedback, there's one that I thought was exceptional. Um, okay, so this one said the reality is traveling within the continent is very expensive. Um, but you may want to pick a region and stick to it. If you stay in the east, it won't be as expensive. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I chose east to south, and I'm definitely flexible. They were also saying if you're going to Tanzania, fly from the coast, rather Mombasa, rather than flying from Nairobi. So the reason I'm showing you this is because basically this is Facebook is like your free travel guide. Here, one person said from Nigeria to they did the Tri County visa. There's a East Africa visa you can do, and she kind of told me, okay, fly from Kenya to Tanzania, then take the train from Tanzania to East to Central Africa. It may be slow, but it's manageable. She also tells me about some other places that you can go. She says fly into your cheapest country and then go from there. Make one your home pad or your home base. So I want to show you this because basically, when you use Facebook, Facebook can, I'm sorry, hold on just a second. So basically, sorry. So basically, you want to look at Facebook because Facebook is like a free travel guide. You basically you look up a group for wherever you're going. Say you're going to Thailand, you look up expats in Thailand. Typically, expats in Thailand or expats or traveling is going to find you a group. Sometimes the group will have a name that you won't expect, or you won't be able to look up easily, like Merida. They have a brothers and sisters in Merida, so you wouldn't actually look up brothers and sisters in Merida. But once you got into one of the travel groups, you probably would see a comment or make a comment. And they'll say, okay, go to such and such travel group, go to Brothers and Sisters in Merida, go to Panama, not Panama, Playa del Carmen is the same way. They have a lot of groups. They may say PDC or they may say Playa del Carmen. Then what happens is once you get into those groups, you can in turn get into the WhatsApp groups. So if you don't have WhatsApp, get WhatsApp. Why are you paying so much when you travel to talk on the phone? Get WhatsApp. So you also have those WhatsApp groups that they'll tell you about. When you start asking certain questions, then they'll start linking you and say, oh, well, get on this WhatsApp group. They may tell you the WhatsApp group in the Facebook group, or they may be like, no, I'll send you the WhatsApp or send me your number and I can add you or whatever. So make sure you have WhatsApp. WhatsApp, if you don't know what WhatsApp is, WhatsApp basically is a free way to talk on the phone. All you have to have is internet. All you have to have is internet connection. So whether that's Wi-Fi or you get a SIM card on, once you land and you use that and then you use your WhatsApp. Whoever you're talking to, all they need to do is download WhatsApp and they can speak with you free as well. And then you don't have to worry about trying to call them, using up all your data, using up all your time, getting all these outrageous bills from your phone company. So, T-Mobile is really good, but after you start talking on it too long, especially if you're doing long-term travel, after you start talking on it too long, they start to threaten you about ending your account. I've never quite had someone to say they actually ended their account. They just got a bunch of threats about it. But they will start talking about they're going to end your account. They're going to stop it. You've been overseas too long. You've been traveling too long. So for me, I did a dual SIM card. Well, I did a dual SIM phone. I made sure my new phone had dual SIM so that I can use my T-Mobile as well as using my SIM from another country. But I digress as I normally do. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I don't mind going back and explaining anything or explaining something in detail. So, right now I'm basically doing my Facebook research. I'm asking questions, and as I ask those questions, I look into new things, and those may cause me to ask more questions. Also, use your chat. Your chat is your friend, not your chat, your search bar. Your search bar is your friend in these groups. A lot of times, especially for the very specific expat group, there wasn't a specific expat group for that country. So your search bar in those groups will be your friend. Use the search bar, search for whatever it is your question is in. Um, and that way you can find everything that you need. So, for example, I'm gonna show you another one. Let's see. I'm in a group for Kenya, because I do plan to spend the most time in that group. Let's see. Let me find the group. So I want to help you. I want to show you the search function and just how helpful that can actually be. So let me pull it up. With Kenya, they name a few groups as their as expats in Kenya. I do have to decipher through to make sure it's actually an expat in Kenya group and not just a group where someone's trying to sell me something. Cause they try to sell you stuff. So okay, I'm gonna share this screen. So this is my expat in Kenya group. So I can go right here, type in my name, and I can see the last post that I did. And here. So here, this one got about 28 hits. And basically said the same thing. And I got 28 comments on this. So I would just go into these comments. Wait, go into view more answers. Again, I'm gonna take it off top comments because I want to see everything. Top comments is just gonna show me what people with the comments that got a lot of people responding. So, here someone says night buses are really safe. Well, then that it became a back and forth. Night buses are not safe in Kenya. I tried a couple of trips just to just use use to book the first raw seats. I don't know what that means. Avoid taking public transportation at night. Don't accept drinks or food from strangers. Safeguard your belongings at all times. I would not take the buses at night, not safe. Buses are a final option. Far too many people die in Kenya due to motor accidents, including the bus. Then they tell me about the train and then doing the flight. So I didn't even think to do the flight from Mombasa to Zanzibar. I assumed it would be cheaper from Kenya. I also didn't realize how unsafe the buses were. So here I had one person that was like, "Oh, the night buses are totally safe." And then everybody, yeah, if you're going on a night bus, be prepared to guard your belongings. Be prepared to I mean, it's like you going to war getting on a night bus. So I'm like, those are the kind of things that no matter how much research I do, would not know unless I talk to people that have been on these buses. Um, some people are gonna be you're gonna have all kinds of people, right? You're gonna have people that's gonna be super afraid of every single thing. Then you're gonna have people that's never gonna be afraid of anything. So you kind of have to figure out how you feel about it. Some people are gonna say stuff. I've done the whole region with a bus, but avoid being on it at night. So go in there, talk to people, ask questions. Um, so that's the thing. You don't know. Hey, Brown Girls Travels. Yeah, she said I didn't realize there would be so many safeguards, at least at night. Neither did I, which is why I say get on these Facebook groups and go in and research it because I would have never thought that, I'm like, if you're gonna do a 10-hour trip on the bus, why not do it at night? But apparently you shouldn't be doing the bus at night. So for me, I think I'm gonna stick to the flights. That's just me. It doesn't sound like the flights are very expensive if I do it from Mombasa. I was not even aware of that. You can do, and then look from Nairobi to Mombasa, which is the coast. You can do a train. So, I probably would do the train and then go ahead and just catch another flight. So that's why I say go ahead, get in these groups and learn what you need to learn. You don't necessarily like, if you don't want to do Facebook, create that fake Facebook name, use your company as your Facebook name and utilize that. But get in these groups because it's going to tell you information that even your travel agent isn't going to be able to tell you, especially if that travel agent has never been to that country. And unfortunately, you do have a lot of travel agents that's never traveled out of the United States. So that always amazes me. I'm more like that person. I don't really use travel agents, but if I did, I want a travel agent that can help me and tell me the different things about that country because they have firsthand knowledge of it, other than travel agents that, may not have really left out the country. So that's something that I ask when anytime a travel agent contacts me. So normally that makes them stop contacting me because they've never been there. And I'm like, I only work with people that's been there. But use Facebook. Facebook is your friend. Now Instagram, I don't use Instagram until I'm actually in the country. I find that Instagram is good for local stuff if you're staying in the country, not as much if you're just visiting. Instagram is my friend when I need braids. I need my hair done in the country. So, in Spanish, braids are trenzas. So I will look for trenzas in Costa Rica, trenzas in Panama, and that's how I will find someone to braid my hair. If I'm not staying there long, girl, my hair is already braided up, so I don't even need to look that up and find somebody in that country to braid my hair. So that's what I would say about Instagram. I've never really used TikTok for travel. I don't know. I'm not a big TikTok person. If you all use TikTok for travel, Instagram, or anything else, throw it in the comments so people know and let us know how it helps you book your travel. So, going on, where we are booking our next big trip, and I'm just giving you tips and tools you can use to book your next big trip and save some money on it too, and save some hassle. Because if you learn some of these things now, you don't have to worry about it later. So that's the thing. I'm at the point I'm trying to figure out how to get through these countries and not how, and do it without spending $1 million. So going in these groups, I found out how I'm gonna get through these countries. Um, Once I mapped that out, I also looked at the weather. What I did find with South Africa is so finicky. The good thing is the time of year that I'm going, fall, winter in the U.S. is their summer. So at least it is in East Africa. So it's East Africa summer, great time to go and see the safaris, things like that. But when you get down to South Africa, they have very tricky weather. Their weather is all over the place, depending on what part of South Africa you are. I believe it's because South Africa is on the equator, or near the equator, is my understanding. Um, so for that reason, you kind of have to separate it into parts. South Africa is just a little funny. So what I found is Imma share again. Share screen. We're doing South Africa. So what I found is like if you're up here in Kruger, that's a national park a lot of people go to, it's gonna be a different temperature than when you come down here to Cape Town. So if you notice, like I think it's really close to the equator, like 25, 30 degrees south. So it's really close to the equator. I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong. But the temperature, like up here, it could be snow, and down here it could be hot. Like I really don't know how I'm gonna do that. I do want to go to Johannesburg, and I also want to make it to Cape Town. After that, I don't really have to go to all the places there. I don't know. So you are so welcome. Glass half full. So yeah, I really don't have to go everywhere, but I am gonna need to know the weather. So basically, what I do, it is very simple. Weather in South Africa. I'm not doing anything special. Google is your friend. Uh, so I'm just gonna go here, go to weather in South Africa by month, and this is how I'm gonna figure out what the weather is. Sometimes I'll go here, find out the best month to travel to South Africa. It looks like November to February, expect some rain. But because South Africa is so funny, I'm gonna look a little deeper because I know from me doing research in the past that their climate is based off of their coast. So here it is. So it shows Port Nolloth, the northern part. These are your temperatures, and it's in Celsius. Oh, here's Fahrenheit. So the northern part, it just looks cold all year long. That pretty much is what that tells me. And then here, South Africa, let's see, hold on. I don't want to, well, that talks about the rainfall. Okay, here it goes. So this is the northern part, just kind of looks cold to me, 50s, low 60s. Then you have Cape Town here. Well, that's the 1990s to 2020s. I don't really like this one. I don't really like this website like that. I feel like it's not very up to date. Let's see. There was another website I found that was a whole lot better. I think it was the Safari one because they're gonna let you know what it is because they want whatever you're doing. Okay, so this is how they separate the climate in South Africa. So South Africa, basically Kruger, remember that area north I was telling you about, and then Cape Town. So basically their temperatures are pretty different. Like January, you're looking at low 60s to 70s. That's January, right? June, it drops because remember, our summer is their winter. So I personally did not know it would be in the 40s in Africa. That's my ignorance. So it's 40s to 60s around here. That's my ignorance. I can't even blame them. And then here in Kruger, it looks like it gets a little higher. The lows are still fairly low. Not as long though, as it is here from like May to September. It looks like their lows are just June, July, maybe May to August, but not as long. And their highs can be up into the 70s, almost 80s there. Whereas in South Africa, it's gonna be cold and almost cold, basically. So that's the thing. Okay, Brown Girls Trade too says it's 10 degrees south of the equator. So yeah, it's pretty close to the equator. So you want to really look at your climate, and if y'all planning on doing some Africa touring, I haven't booked with this site, but I found it to be really good with the information. This SafariBookings.com, so you may want to take a look at that. I'll put it in there because I have looked at it a few times. SafariBookings.com, because I find it to be really helpful. But like I said, make sure you know your temperature. Not just, I mean, like I said, Africa may not be your next big trip. It's my next big trip, so it is the example that I'm using, but make sure you know your temperatures. I was in I was in where was I? Costa Rica. And in the tropics, they do not do they don't have the seasons we have. They have rainy season and they have dry season. I'm going to look at this and assume they're currently in rainy season. I did not know about rainy and dry season. Yes, that was my mistake. It says here the best time to visit Costa Rica is December and April. That's when the weather is the driest. Let's see. So, and then if you want green season, May to June or in November. But you kind of really need to know about wet and dry season when you go because y'all, when I went to oh, I wasn't sharing that tab. I'm gonna share that tab for you all. This tab, is that sharing? Let's see. Let me make sure it's sharing. Okay. So this is the weather. So this is why I said it primarily looks like it's probably wet season right now. Um, and it's really it's pretty important for you to know that when I went to Costa Rica, I ended up getting caught in a flood. I put I did put a video on there about when I was in the flood. I can post that. But basically I went and I was in the midst of a flood. I went to Puerto Vallarta, which is the south part of Costa Rica, right there near Panama. I actually walked across the Panama Canal, actually pushed my son's wheelchair across the Panama Canal. Did not realize I was going to be walking across, not across the Panama Canal, across the bridge from Panama to Costa Rica. I did not realize that when I booked my travel from Panama to Costa Rica, because you can book going from Boca del Toro to Puerto Vallarta, Costa Rica, and you can literally walk across the border. So I didn't realize when I booked it that I actually had to walk across the border. When I went from Boca del Toro, Panama to Puerto Vallarta, Costa Rica, I had to take a van which took me to the Panama line. From the Panama line, I actually had to walk and push my son's wheelchair over to it wasn't Puerto Vallarta right there, but it was that line of Costa Rica. And then I had to take another van once I cleared customs there, take another van that actually took me to Puerto Vallarta. So, yeah, fun fact. And I have a video about that in my Panama or Costa Rica um, videos. But the thing is, in Costa Rica, I had no idea that it was rainy season. When I tell y'all, it seemed like it rained for damn near 40 days and 40 nights. Literally every day, it seemed like it was raining. I was there for 3, maybe 4 weeks, and it seemed like it rained every day. The purpose of me going there was to trace my family roots because my grandmother is from there. And the only way to really trace your family roots in certain places is to go and talk to the people. So I had met somebody and he was going to help me find out who my family was. But because it rained the whole time, I never got a chance to complete that mission. But then there was a flood, y'all. The flood. So once you get to Puerto Vallarta, to get to San Jose, the capital of Costa Rica, you have to go over a bridge. Y'all, there was a flood while I was there. Not only was it raining for 40 days or 40 nights, there was a flood that literally washed out the bridge to leave this part of the island. So basically, we were stranded in Costa Rica. Now, I mean, being stranded in paradise is not the worst thing that can happen. You know, I was cool with it. I wasn't planning on leaving, but I had a friend at the time that came down to visit me, and she needed to leave. So she ended up missing her flight because she could not leave Costa Rica. She could not leave Puerto Vallarta. And basically, you had to pay to either get on a small plane to leave or get on a small boat to cross over. There were times that people would try to make it out. They would get a taxi, try to make it, and they just would not make it. And the thing is, to get to this bridge was about 45 minutes to an hour away. So you basically were learning word of mouth if this bridge was up or not. So I don't know. When I think about it now, and I tell you all, sounds pretty scary. At the time, I had made friends. I was hanging out with people. I had made, a new best friend. We're best friends till this day. She was stranded with me. One of my other best friends came. She came down. She was stranded with me. I met a lady that lived here in Atlanta. Our kids went to school together. She was there. So it really didn't seem all that bad at the time. But as I think about the fact that, you know, I was stranded, you should probably check the weather. Like that's literally what I come up with. That is your tip to check the weather. And I will actually post the video of the bridge falling out. There was a video circulating where the bridge actually fell out, the ground fell out, and you could see people running away. Believe it or not, that is not my only disaster story. I've had more. So don't be like me. Use my tips, and there's my commercial. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and share while we're at it. Um, so check the weather. That's my tidbit about why you should check the weather and not just do like me and go in Skyscanner, say Atlanta, and then two everywhere and be like, "Ooh, this place is only $95 one way. I should go there." You probably shouldn't do that. But if you want to be adventurous, you can. That's what I did. I know y'all. I don't know. Take this advice at your own peril or your own adventure. This all of this advice needs to be researched. This is only for your amusement. And if you get stuck, you cannot blame me here at Charisma Cares. So anyway, so that's why you should check the weather. I have been trying to go to Kenya for a while. It's gotten canceled 2, 3 times now. Y'all, I keep trying to go. I'm gonna make it. I am speaking it into the heavens and the moons. I will make it to Kenya. No flaws, no hiccups. The motherland will welcome me with open arms in 2023 to Kenya. There will be no issues. We will fly. Everything will go great. I will land in Datar. They say that Qatar. I think that's it. They say they have a beautiful airport there. So the airline that I'm looking at using, that's where it seems like they land. And we stay over there. But and that is that is Qatar airline. I think they always land in their area. And that's the airline that's actually being built in Rwanda, where I recently bought land. And I am going to have the special guest on here probably next month, where we're going to talk about the process of buying land in Rwanda. So that's the reason. That's actually the reason I'm going to Rwanda first and not going to Kenya first. I'll do Rwanda for a month and I'm gonna probably do Kenya for 2 or 3 months because Kenya is awaiting me with open arms. I'm telling y'all, I feel it in my spirit. So, those are the things that you want to do when planning your travel. So, like I said, don't forget to catch the first video. That's when I tell you how I hack do the hacking of basically travel hacking. I do the airline points. I get cheap airfare. I'll probably only spend $300 for 2 tickets one way to Africa. That's also how I use my travel hacks to find the cheapest airline tickets. All those ground things that you need to do before you travel anywhere, how you save money, how you build points, your insurance to travel, all of those different things we talk about in that first video. So here we're just talking about when we're actually doing the planning. So we talked about the flights. We talked about the flights. We talked about that last video about Skyscanner and things of that nature and how to find the cheapest flight. We talked about looking up the weather. What are some other questions that you all have about planning your travel? Next week, I'll probably go into how I choose where I'm going to stay. We're going to talk about Airbnb, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's a lot of ugly in Airbnb nowadays. Um, and some other different travel places. The way I choose my travel, when I'm traveling long term, I don't always do a month of Airbnb. And yeah, there's a reason why to that. So make sure you know these things. Also, I want to add to this video here in the US, we use Uber and Lyft. Find out what they use overseas when they're traveling just on the ground. What I found is that I actually have a couple of them on my phone because I've traveled different places. I've used Didi, I've used Cabify as well as Airbnb, well as Uber. I have found that they do not use Lyft anywhere else I've been. This is the only web place that we use Lyft. I don't know if you all have somewhere else that you've noticed they've used Lyft, but that's the only place. So depending where I am, oh, and InDriver. I've used InDriver as well. My understanding in Africa they have something else, but these are all basically rideshare programs. Some of them you have to pay in cash, whatever the denomination is in that country or that state. Some of them you could do like Uber where it's on PayPal, but you need to know the difference because, in I forgot where I was, but their app, I couldn't pay via PayPal. I had to have exact cash in their money. I think it was Dominican Republic where I could call it, but I needed to have that money to book it. So you want to know about that. Again, you can go on Facebook and find out about that as well. Another thing app I want to tell you about, if you're traveling solo and you're a backpacker, I'm not a backpacker. I'm the bougie budget traveler. But if you're traveling solo and you're a backpacker, look on World Packers. That's another app. This is it right here. I haven't signed up just because I don't know if you can actually see that with my lights. Okay, you can't, but I'll type it in here, World Packers. Look at that because that's an app that you can use. I do have a video where I go through my travel apps that I use the most. The other app that I'm gonna tell you to use is Rome to Rio. Do not leave your house without downloading Rome to Rio. Rome to Rio is absolutely the best app ever. And I'm gonna tell you why. So, I'm gonna share my screen with you again. Uh, yeah, Rome to Rio, you can't leave home without doing Rome to Rio. So basically, I want to go from let's see. Okay, let's say I want to go from Mexico City and I want to go to Playa del Carmen since that's pretty popular. Okay. And search. Make sure it's sharing. Okay. So basically, Rome to Rio is hands down one of the best apps you can use. So basically, the best it's gonna tell you the best way to go is fly. Girl, get your butt on that plane and fly. But it's not just gonna tell you to fly. When do you want to go? I want to go on the 27th. So now it's going to tell me the time the flight leaves for me to book my flight. And it's going to tell me the price of the flight, which, oh my God, that is Memorial Weekend. So these flights are outrageous. I've never seen these flights look like this. Let me see. Oh, they said Playa del Carmen is getting expensive. I don't know. I'm gonna have to pass on that. Let's do October. Oh, Jesus. Y'all can I did my Playa del Carmen days. Let's see. Yeah, they are expensive, but see how it tells you the time, how long it'll take. Oh, it's stopping in Guadalajara. That's why it's expensive there. That's why it's taking so long. But it's gonna tell you the time, all that information. Then it'll actually take you to the booking site as well. So you can actually book through here. I don't. I only book my plane ticket to the airline. I don't book through other second parties. Some people do, which is fine. I personally don't. Maybe like if I'm local in the country in US, I probably will, but I don't know. Anyway, here is gonna give you those prices, flexible tickets. You can go ahead to the website. I've never heard of this. I've only done the Aero Mexico, but you can go here and you can book it that way, but it's gonna tell you that. So let's see. And that's this that I'm looking at. The flight, the information, the flight here and all of that. So I'm gonna go back to this tab and share this one. Okay. But not only that, right? Say you don't want to fly, you want to save some money because that flight is very expensive. It'll show you other ways. You could do the subway, you could do the bus. Um, you can do this subway and then you can fly. You could do a bus to bus. So let's choose this. This isn't necessarily the easiest way, but it's a way to do it. So you can take the subway from Morelos, Mexico, 25 minutes, and it's going to take you $1. You get off on this stop and you change, and you then get on what's this? Another bus. You get it here, it's going to take you to this stop. Then that's going to take you another dollar. You change again. You want to get a taxi. It's going to tell you exactly about how much that taxi should cost. So if they try to charge you more, you could tell them, no, that's not how much should cost. Then from there, you get this flight. It's going to tell you exactly about that. Now, once I get on the first bus at Morales, guess what? I actually keep my app open. The reason why I keep my app open is because it will count the stops for you. You could do this with Rome to Rio, or you could do this with Google. If you put an address in Google, that I've used this before, and it will actually tell me each stop. So when I get to the first stop, it'll say 5 stops to go. Next stop, 4 stops to go. Next stop, 3 stops to go. Next stop, 2 stops to go. Next stop. Your stop is next. Get ready. Basically, it tells me to get ready, get your behind off the bus, girl, because you about to get off. Okay, this is your stop. And that's basically what it will do. It will take you stop to stop. And this will tell you the times, and it'll tell you how long it will take to get from one place to another. I will say go on their website, whatever this is, because it's going to tell you who is by, and you go on their website. And so this is their little emblem here. This is the name of the bus system, Sistema de Transporte Colectivo Metro. So go on their site, click it here, go on their site and confirm that those are correct. And you will be able to go on here, look at that bus. You could put by what's this? The station, Buscar. I think that is that to buy. I don't remember. Put in where you want to go here. Search here, put in where you're trying to go, or see if you can translate this to English. What I normally go here to settings because I could translate to English, or yeah, I've been doing this for a minute. I'll go like this, I'll copy this, I will go over here, I'll put in Google Translate, I'll paste it here, and it'll tell me the answer there. I've been living in different countries for a long time. So this is I figured out how to do it all. So that's how I will get from here to the answer here. So that was another quick tip. So you go here. This is gonna tell you everything you need to know to go in here and confirm this this that this here is correct. So, go back because we looked at the bus. Then we go down here, and if we say we chose this bus, right? So we're gonna do this bus. So that gets us there at 8:24. Um, so then we go back. And here we know, 8:24, we'll get back. This bus runs every 30 minutes, so we probably are gonna get on the 9 o'clock bus here, if there is a 9 o'clock bus, if it runs that late. So, let's see. Oh, that bus only takes 15 minutes. Here's the stops. So it tells you all the stops. Excuse me. It tells you all the stops you're going to stop on. So that's good. So we're going to know, and it's going to tell us, okay, 5 stops to go, 4 stops to go, 3 stops to go. Then it's going to tell us this is our stop. We know this bus runs every 30 minutes. We may get over to this. Oops. Let's see. Okay, we may get over to this site and find out they don't even tell you the they don't even tell you the bus stop because they already said we run every 30 minutes and they only have a Facebook. This is their Facebook. I don't even know if they have a real one. But sometimes you go in these countries, at least you know what this looks like because this looks like one of those little tiny buses that they have. Okay, this may be their site here. So, nope, nope. I don't know what their site is. So we're just going to have to show up. Uh, But aren't you happy that you did this before you left? And you was like, nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get on that plane. But if you're adventurous and you said, girl, that ain't nothing, we're gonna keep going. So we're gonna get on here. We're gonna go ahead, get off on our stop here. We're gonna catch this taxi, tell him to take us to the Mexico City Santa Lucia Airport. He's gonna take us to that airport, and we are finally gonna get on this flight. And this flight is so much cheaper. This flight is only $55 from here, depending on when we want to go. By this time, it's late. We done took all these buses, and we probably are going to have to stay the night till morning time because yeah, we done took the late bus. We probably should have started this early, but that's okay. I will not get on a 15-hour flight and go back to LA. That is not gonna happen. So I won't be getting on that 5:30 bus, that 5:30 plane. Absolutely not. I am gonna wait for Aero Mexico to get me on this 6 o'clock plane, pay these $97. Uh, and let's see what it says. This is what I'm gonna do because I be damn, I done took all them buses, taxis, and all of that for y'all to take me back to LA. So this is what I'm gonna do. I see Aeromexico 6 to 9:24. It takes me to Cancun. For those of you that don't know, well, you have to take the plane to Cancun to get to Playa del Carmen. And then from there, you could take a taxi, you could take the bus, you could take whatever. I took the bus. That bus was easy. It was a couple of dollars. It took an hour. It was safe. They pack your luggage on there and you're good. And they seem to come every few minutes. So I can go ahead and book this ticket. Oops. Let's see. Do 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 do. Okay. So, oops, this is the other ticket. Hold on. I done opened so much stuff. But where was I? Okay, I was on Go To. I can book the ticket on Go To. If you're like me, you're gonna go ahead and just I already know this is the Aero Mexico symbol. Um because I've flown Aero Mexico before. Oh, and it said it right here. There we go. So this is the Aero Mexico symbol. If you're like me, you just gonna go ahead and type in Aero Mexico. Uh, you're gonna type in Aero Mexico and you're gonna book on Aero Mexico. You already know how you should book on Aero Mexico because they told you on Rome to Rio. So you're gonna book on Aero Mexico. So we're gonna close this out because we done opened up so many things. Uh, we did our Google Translate. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where we were before, and I will share that screen. So we are back to Rome to Rio. So I'm gonna share this screen because y'all don't forget we made it to Cancun, but we're trying to get to Playa del Carmen. So we're not done, right? Because y'all ain't made it to Playa del Carmen yet. So we got to Cancun. They said, go ahead and take this bus, this shuttle right here. They said, don't play. Go ahead and get on the ADO because that's what everybody getting on. That's what it's called. ADO is the bus in Mexico that travels through Mexico. Easy bus, safe. At least it was safe when I rode it. At least from Cancun to Playa del Carmen. And I've heard of people riding it all over Mexico. Go ahead and get on this ADO bus. It takes 45 minutes. And you got that? You got there, right? It doesn't take $44. Oh, this is the shuttle. Okay, this one is the shuttle. This is your personal shuttle. Or maybe this is either your taxi or your shuttle. But if you like me, you're gonna take the ADO bus because that bus was cheap. It was not $44. So let's go back. I'm gonna look at something real quick. I'm gonna go back again. I'll go back again. We went through so many stops. We're gonna go up here from Mexico City. We took that flight from Mexico City. And then let's see, Playa del Carmen. That should have did that flight go straight to Playa del Carmen? Let's see. No, that flight still went to Cancun. So after that, they should have something that tells us what to do once we get to Cancun, because this is going to take us to Cancun. So let me see. Because once you get to Cancun, you don't want to be looking around like you crazy, wondering how else you're supposed to get there. And they have so many flights to get there. Good Lord. They making sure you can fly there. But after the flight, it should show us the next step. And I'm not sure if I'm overlooking it because it should show us that once we get there, let's see. This one has you changing planes and then go into Cancun. I wonder, I'm not sure why they ended it there in Cancun because it didn't get you to Playa. That's odd. because regardless, you're going to need to get from Cancun to Playa. I've never seen it do that. Trying to see if I overlooked something. Hmm. I wonder if that's just an error on their part. That's the first time I've seen that. Um, but if you're going to Playa, they're going to tell you wherever you're booking, they will let you know you have to get from Cancun to Playa. But I've never seen where it did not complete the trip. It seems every other place they completed the trip except for here, except for Playa. Let's see. Let's look at this direct flight and then see what it says. If they're putting you on another plane. Nope, they're still just taking you to Cancun. That is odd. Huh. I'm not sure why. Because you do have to get to Playa from here. However, the other sources of transportation look like it took you the rest of the way. So it took you there, it took you to Cancun, and it took you from Cancun to Playa. So I'm not sure why they ended there. Anyway, it also will say, are you staying near Playa del Carmen? Go to Expedia. Now you can find a hotel in Playa del Carmen. So I personally like Kayak de Sol right on the strip on Kinsey or 15th Street. But look here for your hotel. And that's how I took you on Rome to Rio. So I love Rome to Rio. That's actually the first time I've seen an instance where it did not complete the trip. So make sure you double check that. But I mean, I don't know where you would book that would not tell you that you have to go to Cancun to get to Playa del Carmen. But also make sure you check it. How I said, check it with the airline, check it with the bus. Just make sure you check it. And you are welcome, Josh. I'm glad that was helpful for you. So that's what we talked about today. We talked all about transportation. I will link you to the video from last week where we talked about money saving tips for that next big trip. And then I will see you next week, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Sometimes I'm a little late, so y'all don't think I'm not coming. I still got mommy mode going on. But I will see you then. Make sure you like this video, share it with somebody that you like, and make sure you subscribe so you'll know when I come on. I don't always announce when I come on. Sometimes I just come on. So ding the bell so you know when I'm actually on. YouTube will tell you Charisma Cares is on. So make sure you do that. And tune in next week. We will talk about, what did I say we're talking about? Where we're going to stay. And if you have questions or comments, go ahead, throw them in the chat. I don't mind staying to answer. If not, then I will plan to see you next week. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes and see if there's any questions or comments or anything you all wanted me to clarify better. Yes, you are so welcome. I'm glad that was helpful for you. Yes, and I posted the safaribookings.com, the World Packers, and Rome to Rio. World Packers and Rome to Rio are apps. And as you can see, Rome to Rio, you can get on the website, but they are also apps. So I have on my phone, I have a little thing. I have a folder. It's called I Travel the Globe. So that's where I go to get all of my travel info and to pull it all up. And I'll also link the video to you for all my favorite travel apps. So you'll have that as well, because that's a lifesaver. All of those apps, I've collected those over my travels. All right, y'all. Well, you have a great afternoon. Well, great evening or afternoon, depending on what coast you're on. Post your questions. Even if I'm off, I will I will still answer them in the chat. And if you like this video, let me know what you liked about it. Let me know if there's something you want to elaborate on. Let me know if there's something you want to talk about on the next video, or if you want me to use your country as an example. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Ciao.